Hello everyone, I'm Kumari Swati, student teacher of Army Institute of Education, B.Ed Batch 2019-21. Today I'm going to deliver a presentation on the topic patriarchies in interaction with other social structures and identities under the B.Ed course code 210, and the title is Gender, Sex and Sexuality. So before moving forward, let's first understand the meaning of patriarchy. So it is a pattern of society or a system of social administration in which the father or senior male enjoys being the head of the family. Now look at some of the characteristics of patriarchal system which makes the meaning of patriarchy more clear. So first one is, in patriarchal system, men make all decisions both in the family as well in the society. They hold all position of power and authority. They are always considered superior, and they are considered with identification qualities. Few of identification qualities are related to men only, like control, forcefulness, strength, strong work ethic, rationality, and competitiveness. Now, moving forward, so the focus and the developer of all events and invention in a patriarchal system are always men. They are considered heroes and saviors in movies, and the center of social engagement and fun or entertainment are always men. They have control on finances and education, and power within a society is focused on uplifting of men. From values, rituals, and traditions to laws and formal institutions like government, power within a society will be focused on uplifting of men. Histories tend to celebrate male achievements only, and history books also focus on male figures rather than female figures. Now, look at the status of women in a patriarchal society. So oppression of women is visible. They are having no decision making power, so they have no leadership. They lack independence. They can't have their decisions of their own. Their decisions are always controlled by men. No say in any change to social order. They rather have submissive roles inside the house. They are considered inferior or controllable. They are considered weak and more emotional rather than logical or practical. They are always portrayed as mother of housekeeper with values, ethics, and morals rather than educated professionals. Now let's look at the definitions or meaning of social structure and gender identity in brief. So in sociology, gender structure is distinctive, stable arrangement of institution whereby human beings in a society interact and live together. And gender identity is defined as the personal conception of oneself as male or female, or rarely both or neither. So the concept is intimately related to the concept of gender role, which is defined as the outward manifestation of personality that reflects gender identity. Next, let's look at the various sociological definitions of certain concepts like family, caste, and class that forms part of the social structure. So let's first start with family. So here is a definition by Giddens. It is defined as a group of individuals related to one another by blood ties, marriage, or adoption, who form an economic unit, the adult members of which are responsible for the upbringing of children. Now coming to caste and class, so here's a definition or a statement by Mazumdar and Madan, who said caste is a closed class. So class refers to people based on property, business, and occupation, and one can change their class but can't change their caste, because caste is hereditary. They are born with that caste, and class they can change. Obviously, we can earn more property, we can have different business, and eventually we can change our class, but not the caste. Now, coming to our main topic, that is the interaction between the patriarchies and the social structure and gender identities. So the first one is family, caste, and nature of women's subordination. Family and kinship have subordinated women in the name of upholding family sanctity and honor within the community. Most women living within the patrilineal or local kinship have limited rights over resources and virtually no inheritance rights and decision making power within the family and household. They are marginalized, seen as dependents, and their autonomy over bodies controlled by by the men. Women within these patrilineal families therefore hardly had choice and bargaining power. Now, family honor and purity of caste is believed to be dependent upon control over and purity of female sexuality. Caste system emphasizes boundary maintenance, endogamous marriage, for keeping up the purity of the caste structure. The onus of this boundary maintenance falls on women because of their role in biological reproduction. Family as a form of social institution plays a significant role in sustaining the idea of purity and honor through socializing its members, especially women, to control their sexuality. Other forms of social mechanisms, which include restriction on mobility, maintaining seclusion, stress on the idea of chaste women, culture of son preference, and importance of early marriage of girls, through which the family actively contributes in maintaining caste boundaries and protects its purity and honor. So, the responsibility of protection of family and caste honor is given to the male members of the community, thereby, men exercise power over the female. As a result, men control every facet of women's behavior and life. Any women seem to be behaving outside of these norms are portrayed as deviant, and they often face violence as a part of punishment mechanism. Now, the intersection of class and gender, which is uh, seen or discussed differently from different feminist point of view. They argued that social system is characterized by male domination over the female, and power rests with the male only. Reproduction and class are completely or complexly related. The universal acceptance of women's role in the reproductive sphere become the basis for creating the class structure between women and men. Consequently, women's work is either invisible or unrecognized in the labor market and family. For instance, women in the 19th century were withdrawn from work after the birth for their first child. Since ages, women have been shaping their work in and around their reproductive responsibilities and simultaneously made economic contributions. We must have observed that women with children gained access to employment such as part time work, home based work, and seasonal work. Studies show that where women were allowed to work with their children, their work participation rate increased. Women are never considered as primary wage earners in the society. They are mostly represented in specific occupations such as nurses, teachers, and agriculture workers. This relationship between class and gender has implication for women's access to schooling and education as well. Now, caste and gender and interface. Caste, class, and gender are inextricably linked, and they shaped each other as social institutions. These institutions, as part of the larger social structure, are continuously engaging with other sectors such as education, health, politics, and market. Now, let us understand how caste operates in society to be able to maintain its dominance over women. The basis of caste system is to sustain the structure of marriage, sexuality, and reproduction across generation. So there are various definition of caste system. So here Ambedkar defines caste system as a system of graded inequality in which the power hierarchies are always vested in the dominant ideology of caste system. Thus, women and Dalit communities often face multiple marginalization with regard to access to education, health, and economic empowerment. One of the ways to understand the intersection between gender and caste is through the concept of endogamy. Endogamy is the practice of marrying within the same caste, one of the significant ways in which caste and caste hierarchies are maintained and practiced. Enforcing cultural codes through the strict practice of endogamy led to much gendered violence in India. We must have come across in the newspaper about the widespread phenomena of gendered violence in India in the name of the ideology of honor or izzat. Men and women associate with the notion of honor in different ways, and mechanism of social sanction for those infringing caste community norms also vary for both women and men. For instance, growing incidents of honor killings in different states of India help us to understand the close link between caste endogamy and violence. Now, women are considered as the gateway of caste system and within the structure of marriage, the reproduction. Women are seen as the repository of caste honor. Hence, they are subjected to patriarchal protection, moral policing, control, and violence. Violence against women justified by this very nature of community honor and maintaining caste purity. So, in this presentation, we have briefly discussed some of the important concepts in relation to patriarchy, social structure, and gender identity. Understanding of these concepts like caste, class, and family will help the learners to analyze how education and schooling are part of these structures. Therefore, school as a social system needs to be understood in relation to society. For example, issues like low enrollment of girls, absence of girl child from certain subjects, disciplines, and lack of access to primary and secondary schooling. These can only be discussed in the context of society, caste, class, religion, region, ethnicity, family and community, and gender relations. So that's all for this presentation. Thank you.